When I founded Has2B in 2013, I would never believe that it will be the biggest startup exit in Austria. It was quite a typical Austrian startup. We had no money and very much challenges. But after my previous startup failed in 2010, I sought external advice in setting up the core foundations of the company. And everybody told me, you need to find and you need to tell the why before you run a company. So we did. We worked on our vision, and here it is. Based on our technology, our children can experience a world without borders in a completely neutral way. Initially, we focused in the development of individual projects to finance our MVP of our leading product, Be Energized. Over time, we became a reputable company in Europe. We grow our team up to 30 people, and we get financing from family offices. And everything was great. Everybody knew what to do. Everybody has done the right thing. And we started to earn more money. And we grow our company to about 60 people. But then, what the fuck? The average revenue per employee collapsed. Nobody was anymore working on the right things. The product development was slowed down completely, and everybody requested me for any decisions I wasn't able to take. So even with working about 120 hours a week, managing the company was a big struggle for me. I needed a solution, and again, I took external support. And here is what they told me. You need to introduce OKR in your company. This will solve all your issues, as it does in every single Silicon Valley company. There's no alternative. You need to do it, and it's the best strategy execution framework. So again, we did. We spent a year of implementation and spent really much money into external consultants in order to implement OKR in our company. And then everybody was working on the aligned objectives. Everybody was taking own decisions. But in a way, I would never have done it. So the people became more and more frustrated in working with the framework, with the overhead which is generated. And my work in future was to moderate the people and pushing them to work with OKR. Finally, we stopped using OKR 1.5 years after we introduced it because it didn't work. And this is why. OKR are working very good in companies with unlimited resources. But in Europe, we mostly get not sufficient funding. We also recognize needing a massive amount of time, energy, and effort in order to operate the framework itself. People get lost in fighting to find the best business jargon objectives in order to represent who's the smartest. The people ended up in discussing never-ending stories, what are the right and correct key results to measure. And after they defined everything, first then they started to think about how they can achieve it. It was always an issue that objectives are formulated challenging and hard to achieve. I think this does not feature culture of continuous improvement. It's generating pain, it's generating pressure, and the employees itself always feel as they fail. I do think there's no need to do that because everybody in a company, I suppose, is willing to provide the best contribution he is able to do. So, what does finally make us to stop using OKR was that our employees are now starting to take own decisions in order to achieve the aligned key results, but the decisions have been wrong regarding to the company's core strategy. Well, so what? Back to the root. We searched for a solution in the market. We find none. So we created our own, and we called it the art of acceleration. OKR is focused on aligning high-performing individuals to the company goals. But what you really need in a company are not high-performing individuals. You need to have the greatest team of teams. That's why AOA is completely fostering only team performance. Remember why we stopped working with OKR? Want you try something? Go back to a company and ask the first 5 people you find to explain your company's strategy in one single sentence. I bet 60% will respond and demonstrate your vision and strategy you've never heard before. If that's the case, you definitely need to act. Remember why we stopped OKR. In order to take the right decision, you need to have a shared reality. You need to have a shared reality on the current status quo, on the upcoming challenges, on your beliefs, and also definitely on the boundaries. And then you are able to execute the company strategy. And in addition to that, don't let your employees think in goals and results. That's complicated. Let them think in actions. So because if you're thinking in actions, you're generating massive time savings because your teams doing the planning phase concretely think on the next steps that have to be achieved in order to fulfill the strategy. And then after the planning phase, you can immediately start working. Simplify the strategy. It must be easy to understand. And then, after you implemented the art of acceleration, which normally takes not more than 3 months, you will achieve a clear understanding of the company strategy for every employee. You're able to close the gap between your defined strategy and the execution, and you will create a massive impact on the team performance culture. We successfully did. And now it's your turn. Try it and see it. Thank you very much.